Okay. Obviously very anxious to get back on the field after a poor performance like we did last week on the road. Um, you know, for us, it's you're very anxious and excited to get back to work. We need to. Yesterday was a long day, that's for sure. Brutal trip to Starkville. Got home extremely late. Obviously, um, not very pleased with our performance. Rough day at the office yesterday, but today's a new day. So back to work. Fortunately for us, we come home playing a rival, playing in our home stadium, and we had played some pretty good games prior to this last week at home. So hopefully we'll get everybody back here, get everybody excited, get the fans back in the stadium, and we will play at a higher level. So we are going to need to. I'm very impressed with Tennessee, much improved football team over a year ago. Josh has done a very good job. They're playing at an extremely high tempo offensively. They have some difference makers at wide receiver, and obviously the stress that they put on you with the tempo and the spacing and things of that nature, and playing extremely hard defensively. So overall, much improved team. So we'll have to play a lot better than we did this past Saturday.
Mark, you got 3 weeks left in the season. The last 2 weeks haven't gone to your liking. Would you say this is nothing more than just a hiccup as opposed to choking?
I don't understand the question at all. Is it what?
Would you say this is more of a hiccup than as opposed to you guys choking? A lot of people say you're choking down the stretch.
That's your word. That's your words or their words. I have no control over what anybody calls the way we play. I could control the way we do. You know what we talk in our locker room. So, you know, we got beat by a pretty damn impressive team in Georgia, and played like crap this past week. There's no other way to describe it. So y'all could put on it any way. You could call it anything you really want. For us, it's about getting back to work.
Right and Dare both went down. What's the status on those 2 guys?
We'll see. We'll see.
Is Marquand any closer to getting back?
We'll see.
When you look, even after, I think maybe even after the Georgia loss, you look at the tape and say you said a few times that the things you liked, but was there anything looking this week that really?
Not very much. Not very many good things this past week, that's for sure. Fell short in all areas.
Was that, what was, I know you obviously knew what they were doing, and you had a lot of success last year against it, but was there something about it this year that was it an effort thing, or was it?
You could. There's a lot of different reasons. They have a lot to do with it. They executed. They played harder than us. They played more physical. We weren't as good as we could be, and that's up to us.
Looks like De'Aaron Jackson was dressed. Is he available?
We'll see. I mean, nobody's given me a scouting report on injuries. You know what I mean? I can't. I mean, we'll see as the week goes on. It's Monday. I haven't even seen these players yet today, so I'm not trying to be a prick about it. It's just, who knows? Who knows whether they're available or not or whatever. I mean, De'Eric's getting closer. Not quite ready last week. Yeah.
Mark, in the past, earlier Liam said that he was trying to get Will to slow down and be calm in the pocket. Was that a problem on Saturday? And can defenses do things to speed up quarterbacks? And
I think it was an issue on Saturday at times, yes, where he wasn't as calm. His footwork wasn't as patient in the pocket. I think you see a lot of quarterbacks, doing that at times. Maybe regroup during a game, and it's not for the entirety of a game, but you see a certain plays where that's a tough position, where they would probably all like to have a few plays over, like most other positions as well. But I'd say that was like that a little bit, Saturday. Will had a chance to hit a few strikes, to complete a few passes to possibly hit a touchdown or two, and we missed them. So we got to get that fixed.
Wait, is there, you brought up a few times Chris dealing with an issue, and we know, or at least there's a wrist thing that he had going on that got mentioned at some point. Is that what you're talking about, or is there something else there? Just not an injury or,
Yeah, Chris was dealing with an issue. It was not the wrist last week. I'm not going to sit up here and talk about everything. I mean, these young men go through a lot, and they go through a lot of practices, and we do a lot of hitting, and things happen throughout the week. So he was dealing with an issue last week. Yes. I don't need to make excuses for Chris, but he was not at full strength.
You and players this year, obviously you guys are huge on accountability. Obviously you said you haven't talked to them today, but what gives you confidence about your team, your guys, to know that they're going to be able to bounce back from this? It's just a rough stretch and they know what they need.
That's what we've done. That's what we do. We're not perfect, but I have a lot of confidence in the leadership of this team, and we'll respond back. And there's no reason to feel sorry for yourself. Take a good look around the league. Take a good look around the standings. This league is brutal. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. There's not too many teams in the league with much better records than us. We all know there's one or two that are absolutely elite, and the rest of us are scrapping.
Speaking of your response, what is your focus going into this week's game?
What is what?
What's your focus going into the game?
Well, I mean, for us, it's about going back to being who we are. One thing I didn't like about last week is we were definitely they were more physical than us, and that can't happen. They were, seemed to be more motivated at times, certainly more physical at times, executed better. You name it, they outplayed us, and it's up to us to get back to being who we are. I can't control what opponents do, but I can control the way we do things, the way we go about our business and practice, and how we play on Saturday.
Among Tennessee, the nation is lost, tackles for loss. And one of their top tacklers, Jeremy Banks, how much does that concern you as you compare?
Well, again, a lot of it's up to us, and how we play and how we execute. And they have some very good players, so there's no denying that. They always have, always will.
So, Jeremy Banks at all? Have you possibly seen any film on him?
Pardon me?
Jeremy Banks, have you seen any film on him as of yet?
Absolutely. Yeah, very good, very good, very good football player. Very disruptive, very good.
Just the differing in styles. Mississippi State, they made a lot of their success kind of underneath, whereas Tennessee kind of really wants to hit you with the big play. Is it difficult to kind of flip these guys' switch?
Yes and no. I mean, we still have to cover. Our competitive nature has to step up. We have to learn to win some one-on-one matchups, and we didn't do a very good job of that Saturday. So it is different, the way they will attack you, but similar in that they put pressure on you in the run game. Tennessee puts pressure on you still. They have extremely wide splits, but they're going to run the ball and be more committed to running the ball and run it more effectively. And then they, with their splits, they're going to take their shots in their RPO game. So you got to be able to win some contested matchups.
when you have a group, they're on the boundaries and corner that maybe struggles to tackle at times, what can you do throughout the week to get, because I know you can't really hit as hard as you want to throughout the week. What can you do to maybe speed up that development?
We just have to simulate the live situations as best we can. When we play fastball, when we play good against good, having great position on the football, and again, generally when you're tackling well on the perimeter, you have a bunch of guys in good shape and in good position.
Do you know Coach Heupel at all through Bob?
I've known, Josh for a long time. Well, we worked together, so he, trying to think here for the, I know we worked together at Arizona, obviously, and then he left there, I want to say, and went back to Oklahoma after that. Yeah.
He was there 1 year.
Yeah, he was there 1 year at Arizona.
As you study Tennessee, what are they doing now? They're playing well. What are they doing now that maybe they weren't doing so much
Pardon me?
earlier? As you study Tennessee,
Mhm.
what are they doing now and doing well that maybe they weren't doing earlier?
Well, they're just more effective. You know, they're playing at a higher level. Again, like I talked about going into last week's game with Mississippi State, they're making the routine look routine. And for them, with Josh, how fast they go and the pressure they put on you, and then executing, hitting shots down the field. You know, they're doing that at a high level. You know, their quarterback's playing much better. You know, when they settled in on Hooker and who we played against back in a few years ago, I guess, in the Belk Bowl. But he's really playing at a high level. You can see him being very confident. He runs the ball effectively when he needs to, but he's getting the ball down the field and has a lot of arm strength and is playing very well.
Mark, how is what Tennessee is running? Is it similar to what Josh Fraley was running the offense at Missouri?
It is, and I'd say, yeah. It is, as far as pressure on you in the run game, wide splits, extremely high tempo, and taking your shots down the field. You know, there's different things as well, but overall, schematically, very, similar in a lot of ways.
Is it helpful that you all played them?
That was a long time ago. I mean, as you could tell, week to week, it's a little different sitting up there. As I mentioned to you, I knew I'd be sitting up here. It's not the same old every Monday. You don't know what you're going to get dealt week to week, so I'm very well prepared for that. It's been 9 years.
One of the touchdowns Tennessee scored against Alabama, Alabama's corner did get lined up in time.
Yeah.
Just ran out by him. How much communication, I guess, going to be more of an emphasis this week than normal?
Looked like at least two. One in particular wasn't ready at all. So tempo is definitely a factor, and communication and defensive, having a great sense of urgency, getting lined up and covering your guys, definitely a big piece of it. One for sure was clean. He was turned around, talking to the sideline, and there was another one. To me, I could just tell by watching the film, it didn't look like that the DB was completely locked in pre-snap. So, it's definitely a factor.
What's a relief is it to finally get back home for the first time in a month and play this important game for you guys at your home stadium?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Really need the same energy that we've had, the last couple times we've been at home, and we need that. And I know our players are excited about being back home. We need a packed house, and we need some noise. We need any spark, anything we can get to help us out. We appreciate it. Looking forward to being home.
That guy goes 36 or 39 or whatever that number
Yeah.
was. What do you do with your defensive backs that kind of, you try to build them back up now? You can't, I guess, beat them over the head too much. They experience something like that.
Glad you rephrased that, because the first thought that came to my head was put a gun to my head. We just got to get back to work, and we got to play. You can't let people do that to you. That's for sure. And so, not a good feeling. Very frustrated, but we got to get things corrected, get back to work, and again, it boils down to making competitive plays. They're going to make some. We need to make ours.
How do you feel about your depth in the secondary? Obviously, that was an issue early in the year when you were missing some guys. Has that developed the way you want to, where you have enough other options there?
It is what it is. We're dealing with it the best we can. Mm-hmm.
With Will, it feels like the lack of explosive plays, that if it doesn't go right early, it's not going to get better throughout the game. Is there a miscommunication with some of those deep balls? I think one time, Wandale went right, the ball went left. Is there something off from that part, or is it just an execution that you put the ball on?
There's a variety of things. I'm not going to sit up here and point the finger at any one person, but they were off on a couple plays. I mean, they've connected on some before. You saw the game Saturday. We had our opportunities. We can't miss them. Sometimes when you're playing really good teams and you have one or two shots that are touchdowns, That's the difference between winning and losing.
Mark, it's a long season, and it's been a trying season at that for these last 2 weeks. So how energized are you as you go into this game?
Oh, we'll be jacked up and ready to go. Trust me, our team will be excited and ready to go and ready to get back to work today. That's not going to be an issue.
How does, you know, I think it's supposed to be pretty cold on Saturday. How does that affect an offense like this? Do they stay warm running as much as they do?
I mean, to be honest with you, I really don't pay no mind to it. Our good players, we have benches over there where they can sit on and stay warm in between and all that, but it is what it is. So I'm not going to spend too much time worrying about it. TK does a great job, our equipment guy. And
Oh, I'm talking about that.
for their side, again, I can't worry about that.
What Tennessee defensively, how much different are they than they were last year scheme?
Scheme-wise, definitely somewhat different, but they're really playing hard. They have some really good players, some disruptive guys, and they're playing aggressive. So they're doing a good job and improving in a lot of ways.
It seems like you all have increased your emphasis recruiting the state of Tennessee in these last couple classes. Is there any particular reason for that, or is it just connections on the staff?
Proximity, and they're getting more and more people moving in, and playing football at a higher level, just kind of like our state as well. So that's all.
When you're trying to make a recruiting push into that state, does that make the outcome against this team more important?
I think the outcome matters a lot of times, no matter who you're playing. I mean, it really does. So I don't know if it's any more important. You'd have to ask an individual player. Sometimes we're recruiting guys that it's not down between us and them. It's between us and some others. So it really just depends.
Eli, what do you think of Josh, how he looked out there? I mean, I honestly had to return, but it looked like he ran pretty good.
Looked good in that return. He really did, and he had some other good plays. I think just having 1 week under his belt, will give him more confidence as he moves forward, and hopefully he'll have a great week this week and nothing setting him back. And that stuff happens. I mean, again, we're not withholding information, but I mean, it's like last week with Chris. I mean, just things happen. Injuries happen. So.
The market kind of moved up a little bit on the
Yeah, DeMarcus had a good game. It was nice. Hopefully he'll continue to build on that. I've been asked the past couple weeks in here about him, and I said he's kind of improving, and that showed up, which was nice.
Mark, stipulating you've gone against one all-time defensive front and another really good defensive front. What's going on with the running game?
Needs to be better. Needs to be better. I believe both teams do a very good job. They're very disruptive, very physical, and some of it we can control.
The offensive line, have they played at the level you had hoped for? Or?
I think we always strive for more at any position, and never satisfied, and always want to improve and be better. They're no different.